So here we cleared your doubts if you had any and the answer. Now write it. Some important point about velocity. Some important point about velocity. First, velocity is a vector. Second, sign of velocity indicates direction. This is actually a common trait, common property of all vectors. That is, if velocity is positive, it will be one way. If velocity is negative, it will be the other way. Okay or not okay?
Yes.
બરાબર છે. પઢાઈ ગયો છે એવું લાગે તમને. Clear or not?
Yes, sir.
જો अब डेड बॉडी जो નથી તો ઝોમ્બી છે. ઓકે, તો એ તો ઘણી વખત તમે કામ ન કરો તો મારે કેવું તો પડે જ ને. Who is responsible for you all after all? It's me. Right? So sign of velocity indicates its direction. That is the direction of velocity. Okay, if velocity is positive, it will be towards right side. Velocity negative towards the
Left side.
Like that. So, because velocity is a vector, obviously it will be made up of two things. Every vector has two things. Yes or no? Which? Every vector has two things. Which? Magnitude and direction. Remember that?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So now you are going to listen to the biggest shock of your life. Okay, so far at least. Obviously, velocity is a vector, so it has a direction. Nothing wrong with it. But it also has a magnitude. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. It also has a magnitude. But the magnitude of velocity is called speed. Magnitude of velocity is called speed, and this is the one and only one definition of speed. Everything else about speed that you have learned so far or that you know from so far is wrong. Speed is not distance upon time. Speed is not displacement upon time. You understood that? I'm making it very clear. OMK speed is distance upon time. It's not true. Okay, what is the only one meaning of speed? That is magnitude of velocity is called speed. Again, if I write only velocity, which velocity do I mean? Instantaneous velocity. Okay, even if you don't write, everyone will understand that we are talking about instantaneous velocity. Similarly, when I write just speed, I mean which speed? Instantaneous speed. There are also two types of speed. One is average speed, which we have already studied. What is average speed formula? V by delta t. Yes or no?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
That was average speed. Now we are talking about instantaneous speed or speed. So speed is the magnitude of velocity. Clear? Speed is the magnitude of velocity. This is the only correct definition. Again, remembering the words of definition is useless in physics. એનાથી કોઈને કોઈ લેવા દેવા નથી. તમે આટલા વર્ડ ગોખી નાખો છો ફિઝિક્સ માં શું કઈ ન થાય. You have to use it at the right time. So whenever someone says find speed, you don't have to do distance upon time. It naturally થઈ જ જશે તમારાથી હજી તો 2-3 મહિના. Okay, because it is something that you might have been taught all the way from 6, 7, 8, 9. Speed equal to distance upon time. Speed equal to distance upon time. Everything is but it's wrong. Speed is the magnitude of velocity. There is no other correct meaning. બીજું કઈ છે જ નહીં. આ એક જ સાચું છે. બાકી બધું સ્પીડ નો અત્યારે તમને જેટલું છે તમને લોલીપોપ આવી ગઈ. ઓકે, નાના છોકરાઓને લોલીપોપ પકડાવી દે એવી રીતે. ઓકે, it is all wrong. Okay. So velocity is made up of two things, one direction and the other magnitude, which is called speed. Got it? Yes, any other?
Yes.
Number 4. Average generally average velocity is not the average of velocity. Generally, average velocity is not the average of velocity. What is the meaning of average of velocity? How do you find average of something? Suppose in 3 tests you got 45, 60 and 29 marks. How do you find average? Add and then divide by 3. Just like that, if you find average of velocity, then that will not be equal to average of. Is that clear? Average of velocity is not same as average velocity. They are different things. Got it? Right? So what is average velocity? Delta m by delta t is average velocity. But average of velocity is totally different. Right? Okay? So most of the times they are not equal. There are some very special cases when they can be equal. What are those cases and all that we'll see later. Right? But for the time being, generally they are not equal. Like rule nothing. Gome they are average of velocity, average velocity because the same name given. Okay, they are different. Okay, let's go to the next. Number 5. Okay. Now, if velocity of an object is 0, we say that object is at rest or is stationary. So whenever someone says object is at rest, for example, I can say that this chair is at rest. What do I mean when I say chair is at rest? Its velocity is 0. When we observe from our frame of reference, the velocity of this chair is 0. Got it? Then we say that this object is at rest or stationary. Clear or not clear? Right? So being at rest or stationary has nothing to do with anything else. Just one property. Velocity equal to 0, object is at rest. Simple. Or vice versa. If someone says this object is at rest, then its velocity at that time will be 0. Next. Direction of motion is always the same as instantaneous velocity at that time. In other words, this is the same sentence in other way, okay? But I suggest that you remember both, or at least understand both. Objects move in direction of velocity, okay? Objects move in direction of velocity and not in any other direction. So what this is telling you is that if you want to decide in which direction is the object moving, then you find out the direction of velocity. If you can find that direction, it means the object will move in that direction. Or vice versa. If you know in which direction object is moving, then that automatically means you know the direction of velocity. For example, if I say that this duster, when I leave it, it will start falling down. So it will move in which direction? Downward. So its velocity will be down. Is that okay? While it's moving down, the velocity will be down. Got it? Suppose we put this duster in a car and the car moves. Okay, so duster will move with it. Clear or not? Sure?
Yes.
Absolutely. That means if duster moves that way, then the duster's velocity will also be in that direction. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this is independent of everything else. Force, acceleration, બીજું કઈ જ વિચારવાની જરૂર નથી. Simple. Object will always move in the same direction as its velocity is. Velocity આમ હોય તો આમ જાય, આમ હોય તો આમ જાય. Is that clear? Okay. So that's number 6. Frankly, all these points are very important, but I see that people forget the sixth one the most. Okay, right, and get confused. Basically, I'm making you write these sentences so you can avoid confusion. Exam માં ભૂલ થઈ average velocity પૂછ્યું તો સીધું average of velocity કરીને આવી ગયો answer sir. You know that. Is that clear? Okay, that's why this is here. Similarly, this is here because it's an important definition. And you have to forget what you have learned earlier and learn this. That's why it's very crucial to put it here, right? So, like this, all these sentences are meant to avoid confusion, right? These sentences help you to avoid the confusion during the exam. But like I said, I find that people forget it most of them. And unboth they are not good. Okay? Alright? Now, yeah, one more. Let's go to number 7. Magnitude of average velocity is not average speed. You know, this question comes up in students' mind quite often. Okay, magnitude of velocity, speed. Then magnitude of average velocity, average speed? No, ever nothing. Strange, but it's not. Okay, magnitude of average velocity is not average speed. Generally not. In some exceptional, special cases, it can become equal, but generally it is not. You know, if I write the two formulas, what is magnitude of average velocity? First of all, average velocity. Average velocity formula delta S upon delta V. And magnitude means putting a modulus. So you don't need to put modulus here because it is always positive. Time interval will not be negative. So we are saying that this and this, they are not equal. Obviously, they can be equal only in one case. If these are equal, then modulus delta x will be equal to d. Yes or no? Do you remember when that happens? When does modulus delta x equal to d? When there is no change in direction of motion. Do you remember? It was one of the points that we have written earlier. તમને ઈ જ ફરી ફરીથી સમજાવવાની ટ્રાય કરું છું કે ફિઝિક્સમાં બધું એકબીજાથી આગળ ચલો આગળ પાસિંગ એવું જ ચાલે છે. So what we have learned on the very first day is still useful. The chapters are really artificially divided. સમજ પડે? Chapters and topics are artificially divided. Artificially એટલે એવું નથી કે આ આખો અલગ છે ને ઓલો આખો અલગ છે. No. First topic leads to second, second leads to third, third to next. Here the chapter પૂરો થાય. Then this chapter will lead to the next chapter. That is why it is very important not to miss out on anything ever. એકવાર ચૂકી ગયા બસ પછી એ આગળ 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 જતું જ જશે and you will not be able to catch up. So that is why it is very important to start working this very moment. કાલથી ભણીશ પછી કરીશ એવું બધું કરશો તો ક્યાંય વયું જશે ખબર જ નથી પડે. Okay, and there is no recovery. I'll be very clear with you. 3-4 ચેપ્ટર વયા ગયા ને પછી તમારો એટલી હાલત ખરાબ થઈ જશે you will become desperate કે કાંઈ ગમે એ કરે કંઈ તો આવડતું જ નથી હવે શું કરીએ પણ એ ન જ આવડે કારણ કે પાછળથી જ શીખવાનું. You miss that bus, it's all gone. So don't be lazy. આજે જ ભણવા માંડજો ઘરે જઈને. ગઈકાલે જ મારી એક સ્ટુડન્ટને કેવું પડ્યું હતું હવે આવું નહીં ચાલે. So I hope it doesn't happen with anyone now. Well, so that is these two can only be equal if these two are equal, and for that it is required what? That the direction of motion does not change. જો એવું લખાયું એની ઉપરથી આ છે. હવે તમે અત્યારે સર અમને આ ન સમજાણો તો હું તો તમને શું કહીશ, પહેલા લખાયું તો વાંચો. Do you expect me to repeat it? No, you should not expect. Sometimes I might, but not every time. આવું પછી 12th માં 11th માં આવશે તો ત્યારે શું પાછા તમને 11th માં બેસાડ દેવાના, 12th માંથી ઉપાડીને કરવું એવું બોલો. તમે કહેતા હોય તો કરું તો વાંધો નહીં, તો ન શીખતા અત્યારે. Okay, so don't let that happen to you. Well, so generally this is not safe, right? In only one special case it is safe. Next, can speed be 0? Think about it. Can speed be 0? Hurry up. Can speed be 0? Yes. Sure. When? Distance traveled down by way. Wrong. Speed has nothing to do with distance traveled. If there is no motion. Is that okay? When velocity is 0, speed automatically will be 0. Why? Because speed means nothing but the modulus of velocity. Did you understand? What's the definition of speed? Magnitude of velocity. How do you find magnitude of something? By putting a modulus. Is that okay? Sure. So if this is 0, only then speed will be 0. Did you get that? Right? So that is only possible if object is at rest. Okay, can speed be 0? The answer to this question is yes. If object is at rest. Can speed be negative? Can speed be negative? No, it's a magnitude. Magnitude can never be negative. Okay? Alright. Fine. So you love to know, I think it's very trivial, very simple. Can speed be negative? So someone particular. I don't think you get confused. Alright. Speed is a scalar or a vector? Scalar. Why? Because it's a magnitude. Think about it. How did we divide velocity? One part magnitude, another part direction. So obviously speed does not have a direction. Velocity has a direction. Is that clear? Okay. Speed does not have direction. Okay, fine. Now, very quick, simple questions. Okay, very short, very simple ones. Let's say some object is here at -1. Okay, when you start observing. Alright? Okay, and it's moving towards the right side. This is where it was when you start observing, it is moving towards the right side. Okay, and I tell you, okay, first of all, you tell me what's the direction of the velocity of this object? Right side. Positive or negative?
Positive.
Sure?
Yes.
Not -1?
No.
Why not? -1 to it. Initial wave. -1 is the position. Velocity is towards the right side. How do you know? I told you that the object is moving towards the right side. You get that?
Yes.
So suppose the velocity is, for example, 70 km/h. Is this positive or negative?
Positive.
So the direction will be towards the right side. Okay. What will be speed in this case? What will be speed? 70 km/h. In which direction?
Right.
Wrong. No direction. Speed is a
Scalar.
scalar. Speed does not have direction. So ये पूछे कि what is the direction of this speed? नहीं बोली जवान. Okay. It is also possible that in lower classes you may have been taught that velocity, speed બધું એક જેવું જ હોય. એ બધું પતી ગયું હવે. Okay. Velocity and speed are not same. Velocity is a vector. It has a direction. And speed is a part of that velocity, which is only the magnitude part. Is that okay? Alright? Now, if instead of this, if it would be going towards this side with this velocity, what would be the speed? Is that clear? So the speed negative or that? Be careful about that. Got it? So if someone just tells you the speed, You cannot decide in which direction object is moving. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I'm saying this vehicle is moving at speed 70 km per hour. In how much time will it reach there? No, answer is not correct. Because it should be known where it is moving. હું તમને એવું પૂછું કે this vehicle is moving towards some side. Okay, we don't know where it is moving. Then in how much time will it reach here? It might never reach there. આમ જતું હોય તો. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So you need to know the direction of motion for a complete description. Just knowing speed is not enough. You know, that is why people moved on from speed. Speed is incomplete description. Velocity is a complete description. Okay? You get what I'm saying? Speed is incomplete because it doesn't tell you where the object is going. But velocity also tells you where the object is going. આ ખાલી એનું કહે કે ભાગે છે બસ. ક્યાં ભાગે? આડું ભાગે. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right? Okay, fine. Next time we'll solve the example 2. Okay, I actually wanted to do it in this class, but anyway.